Okay, I'm gonna start recording this now. So we've drawn in Jax's head shape, his spinal cord area, his legs, his torso shape, his ears. So far, the lines to show what direction his head is shaping. We've measured how many heads tall Jax is, which is quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 with his ears. We've figured out that his torso is 3.5 heads tall. That's important. Now let's get on to the rest of the body for his running pose. So the next thing I was going to mention was his legs. This is part of the outside. They make his legs spread out, and it's kind of like his pants shape. You see, they kind of stick out. I think it's just like kind of a country thing. Like you wear clothes that are either passed down or just like too big, so they're not meant for your size. So that's kind of contributes to the art style, where his pants, like on like a more realistic looking version of Jax here, or like a real person, would be kind of bunched up. You know, they're squished down because they don't really fit. But in this, they have the art style very simplified, so the pants simply spread out. So that's how I drew the legs here. Is they start out pretty narrow down here, and they get wider down here. See? I'm describing all of my thought process for you guys as an artist. Things you, like most artists, may not mention when like drawing something. Maybe you should have recorded it. Oh yes, I'm recording it now. So yeah, back to making Jax running. So we're gonna make Jax's arms like flow out. So right here would be the joint area. So we're gonna draw these balls for the joint. Yep, I drew balls on Jax. Ball joints. We're gonna draw another ball joint for his wrist area. We're gonna draw a simple shape for fist, because often when people are like jogging or running, they got their hands in fists. Makes it really simple to draw too, because you just have to draw like, well, a very square shape. We're gonna make his hands really big too, because if you look at this picture, his hands are pretty big compared to like his head shape. And his hands are also like very square shaped, at least for the most part. You know, they're kind of rounded at the ends because he's bubbly. We're gonna draw this arm here, kind of going sideways. So we're gonna draw the fist right here, and then like a little round nub for the thumb, and a couple of lines for like where the fist is gonna be. And we'll do the same for the other side. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. So I'm gonna teach you a little bit about. Oh, hi, cats! Hello. I was literally just watching your stream a second ago. Yeah, Cats is a very good artist. Cats is probably a better artist than me, to be honest. Yeah, Cats is here, Metro. I wanted to stop by and see how it's going. Well, I just am talking about like the line artwork you would do for an avatar, and talking about like how the character's head heights or characters are measured by head heights, which is why I got all the circles along Jack's here. Yeah. Cats for entering. Hehehe. So, yeah, now we're going to talk a little bit about perspective. So, his left arm here, I was going to say his right arm, but this should be his left arm. His left arm is, like, pretty long looking, because it's going to be drawing from mostly a side perspective. But then his right arm here, this part is a side perspective, but this side is a perspective facing towards our camera. Our camera is facing towards Jack's. I'm drawing like a really like old-fashioned looking camera shape. Like we're looking towards him. So we drew the arm a lot shorter. There isn't much distance. And that provides perspective because the arm is like coming towards us. So we just have to draw it shorter. And like one way to like do that is to draw like layers. So you just have to imagine what you're looking at first when you're drawing like perspective. So the first thing we would see is the fist. The fist is going to be on top of the arm. So like it's going to be like layered over. So like when we draw the arm here, like part of the arm is going to be covered up by the fist. And it's going to, as I drew it here, instead of drawing the arm like straight and flat, like let me just draw these arms right here. Whoop, whoop. I think it should make it more narrow. Whoop. I'm gonna draw his very lanky arms here. His arms are pretty static. They don't get like very wide or anything. They're just pretty narrow. But since we're drawing perspective here, we're drawing the arm like this, where it's wider on the end that we're drawing it. Cause like, just imagine like you're looking down a street. Imagine we're like looking down a long road. So this is a road here, and we got the lines in the road, and they're slowly getting smaller and disappearing into the distance. The 0 point. Eventually, like, it narrows down to 0, where there's nothing. And that's what we're doing with the arm here. It's like looking down the street and how it's getting narrow. We're drawing the arm the same way, where it's getting narrow as we look down it. So that's how you draw perspective. So fist on top, then the arm, it's going to be partially under the fist. Then we can draw the rest of his lanky arm here. And then as for his body, well, he's pretty square shaped. He's pretty simple. So we're just going to draw him in the shape that we're just doing. Maybe make him a little wider at the bottom to show that his stomach area is slightly closer to us than his chest area. Add a little bit of, exaggerated effect. And then let's, before we start drawing the face, let's draw his ears. We're gonna make him long and floppy. And just like a lot of his body, this is another character design they put in. So just like his pants get wider at the bottom, his ears get wider at the top. It's just the opposite. They're wider at the top area, they're more separated. So that's how I'm drawing these ears. Is very wide at the top area. I think I drew them too wide, but you know, bleh. I'm not gonna be too picky. Oh, Katsujan left. Well, that's sad. Okay, so now that we've drawn like the basic body shape, let's start on a new layer. I'm just gonna create a new layer, make sure that layer is on top of this one, and I'm going to decide what color I want. Usually I draw like a dark purple for like lines. You can draw them like any color. But let's zoom in on the face so we can add some more detail. Whoa! Okay, I just got another follower. Cool. Whoa. We're up to 980 now. That's crazy. On Twitch. Yeah, that's what just happened. My redeem stuff is always active, so like if I get a follower, it just shows up. Just 20 more, and yippee! I'll be up to my first 1,000. First 1,000's always the hardest to get. So, okay. So drawing Jax here. The general have like pretty narrow eyes, but their eyes can be really big when they're like scared or surprised. And these lines are too thick. I'm going to shrink my pen here to, I think, a size that'd be like a little more appropriate. Yeah. So Jax's eyes generally, like when he's in his neutral mode, are flat on top, as you can see, and then round at the bottom, like he's planning something. But then if we were to go and look at like pictures of him when he's surprised, his eyes would be surprised. They would be opened on top. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to make his eyes open on the top and the bottom. Because, you know, he's running away from his problems. So we're going to make it look like he's doing that. And as you can see, I'm drawing off the head size right here. So let's fix that. I think I drew the eye too narrow right there. And if you're paying attention, you see we have this middle line going down the center here. I'm trying to keep it so that where his eyes intervene, or not intervene, they combine. Are you drawing right now, Cass? That's cool. I don't think that was still on. What do you mean? Are you talking about the... Oh, you didn't think like the... my redeems would still be on? Yeah, I always have them on. So we're gonna keep the top part of his eye and bottom part of his eye on those center lines here. Now if you notice, I'm like constantly undoing my lines here. Some artists when they've had enough practice, they don't need to redraw lines. But I'm trying to get the shape just right, so I'm constantly undoing and redrawing. Hello, Mia. I'm teaching art right now. And usually Jax's eyes are like really big. Like so. But that's a pretty neutral like look for his eyes. We're drawing him kind of freaked out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw his square eyes very narrow. Like he's focusing in. They're not relaxed. Oh, Cast ran away. Bye, Cast. Oh, they're just chilling out. Hi, Cast. I think we drew his eyes probably like too big still. We're gonna make his eyes even smaller. The smaller, the more freaked out they are. We're also gonna draw them like kind of off center. Like if I were to draw them in the middle, they'd probably be somewhere like close to there. But we're gonna draw his eyes further to the center right here. To show like he's like narrowing in and like trying to get away. And we're going to draw his mouth as like a big oval too, just like his eyes. And we're going to off-center it. So we got the center line here. We could draw it like right here. And, you know, that's fine. But I think for like something animated, not animated, something cartoony like this, it would look better if his mouth was off center on the side. We're just gonna put some lines down the center of his mouth to show like, well, we look at him. He always is smiling. He's never not got his teeth in a smile. Or, well, clenched together, should I say. Not smiling necessarily, because he's not smiling right here. Okay. And he's got thin, like, eyebrows. So we're gonna draw his eyebrows just like these lines, and the lines don't necessarily have to be attached to his head, because often in photos his eyebrows tend to like fly off his head, you know, very cartoony like if we look at here, you can barely see his eyebrows, but they are clearly just barely on his head because they're just kind of floating there. So we're going to do that too with him right here. We're gonna draw his eyebrows kind of levitating off of his head. I think the mouth should follow the shape of the head. You mean be in the center? Is that what you mean, Cass? Be more round. So let me delete the mouth partially, and let's see how that looks. You know, that's not so bad. Looks like a football. Doesn't it? How do I feel about this? Football mouth. Yeah, sure. Let's go with the football mouth. Now I'm just going to trace his head here. It doesn't have to be exact, I feel like. You know, we're just trying to get like a nice round head. His head is kind of football shaped too, but his head doesn't come to points. His head is pretty round. Like a football would be like this. You know. It comes to nail points at the end. His head isn't like that. But look at Jax's head. It's round. It's oval shaped. It's more like egg shaped. It's oval shaped. I want to make sure my music is cool. My music is lipping correctly and it is the copyright free stuff, so don't have to worry about that. Just needs to go check. Okay, so now we got his basic head shape down. So he's honestly that difficult to draw here because we can just give him like a really narrow neck, and we're gonna make the neck kind of like, instead of straight, we're gonna make it moving backwards because he's in like a running motion and his head is like tilting as he moves forward. And his shoulders, her shoulder area is very roundish, but this arm is going to be like upwards, like since he's like moving and his arms are going to be like kind of pushing forward, so we're going to draw it. Yeah, like this looks good. We're going to give his arms kind of a bendiness to it. You know, because he's cartoon-like. He lanky fella. Jax is lanky. But he's still going to have, like, you know, joint areas. Just like his real self. They're squishy, but they're still joints. We're gonna make his arms kind of wider at the ends here, just like him. See, his arms still get slightly wider at the ends, and I'm going to exaggerate that just a little bit. Boop. That looks good. Linky. Oh, I think all I have to do is just make sure his body is smooth when drawing it. Make sure his legs line up properly. Gonna add some like nice exaggeration to his body shape. So this is perspective again. You see how the top of his chest right here starts right here, and I'm going to draw the arms just like so. Since we're staring from this perspective, his torso right here is going to be partially blocking his arm. So like we just have to draw it like in layers. So like if his body here is one big block, his body is partially blocking his arm because of the perspective we're looking at. So I would draw the chest, partially over his arm area. And these tiny notes can make a big difference when you're drawing more and more complex pictures. It's the building blocks to making things look 3D. And also, I did the same with his arm right here. You can see right here, his arm is partially like blocking his neck area. So I drew it like covering it. Rather than just like, if I were to delete this, just see, that looks good too. If I delete it and his neck is just like flush with his arm, but it doesn't look as good with the line right. It looks better with the line right here. It adds more perspective to it. And back to more perspective, I'm gonna draw his. Instead of drawing the arm first, right here, we're actually going to draw the fist because the fist is on top of the arm. So if we go back to his artwork, we can see his gloves have got these big bundled up spots. So we're gonna draw his fist here. Try to get like a semblance of a shape, and then we're going to draw the big round part, and then we're going to draw his arm. As you can see, it's covering his arm. It's going over the top of his arm area. Perspective. Let's add some lines for his fist area. And let's come over and finish his body shape. Yeah, very simple. We're just gonna follow what I already drew here. Like sometimes I will follow it, other times I will deviate from the initial lines I did. Like drawing his legs to be wider at the bottom to help exaggerate that pose of his. Boop, 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 boop. Let's zoom out here and look at what we've done. I actually don't like how I drew this leg. I feel like it looks like he's standing and then taking like a single step forward. I think we need to draw him with like a bigger stride. So I'm just going to delete that whole leg here. I'm going to draw his lanky ass leg. Make it really... It still doesn't look great. So I'm going to add perspective again to this. I'm going to draw his leg kind of out. And then instead of drawing long again, we're going to make it look like his leg is behind him. Like it's narrowing down. Making sure he actually looks like he's like a run. Like we're gonna be throwing the leg out and back. Yeah, so now it looks shorter, but actually it's just perspective. Gonna draw his big poofy pants at the bottom here. His folded sleeves. May not look the best, but I think it looks better than what we were going to do. And his feet are just kind of big slabs. I don't know why I made his feet really long at the bottom there. I think I was just trying to get like that perspective. It's kind of hard because his feet look very square and they're designed, so I'm trying to get that square look, make it look correct. Jack's feet. Okay, so it looks like he's like stepping down with the way I'm drawing it. Like his leg is already on the floor. I'm noticing that's not right looking. But I need to draw it like... his feet are launching away. Like he's kicking off the ground. Like it's really sprinting away from his problems. He really doesn't want to extract today. You know. He knows he's just a program in a computer now. At least that's the going theory, is like they've had their brains literally just scanned and their memories and stuff, at least somewhat what they know, other than like their names and like core memories, are uploaded into the digital world. But I think the real people, the real selves, are actually just walking around, just enjoying their lives. Like the real Pomni is out in the real world somewhere, but her scanned digital consciousness is stuck in the digital circus. So anyway, we got some bad feet. We got Jack's feet, guys. This is what everyone came here. I know all of you gooners came for the Jack's feet. Here you go. Lick the screens if you need. Because we all know this is the peak of masculinity. This is the peak of masculinity here, chat. I ain't that type of person. No, it's actually the souls. Mine's stuck in the code. You know, it could be either. So I'm gonna add a line right here to showcase like the leg getting narrower. Still doesn't quite look right to me. I haven't quite figured out why. Maybe it's because the joint doesn't look correct. Like maybe if I gave him like a more solid joint, like right here, it would look better. I don't know. I'm gonna title this video "How to Draw Peak Masculinity." This fucking Jack running away from his problems. And he has the tiniest butt here. See? That tiny little lump right there? This thing? Jack's butt. You don't need ass. And then let's just draw his ears, and I'm going to draw them a little less wide at top than I initially drew them, because I know his actual ears aren't quite that wide. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's a wild title. Remind me later if I forget. And now to draw his outfit. His, what do we call this? Overalls. He shows a lot of chest. Look at all the chest he shows. Peak masculinity. If you show that much chest, you know you're a man's man. How wide are his... Not very wide. So like before, perspective. The bottom of his straps here are going to be wider. See right here? Boop boop. At the bottom, then they are going to be at the top because the perspective is getting more narrow. Because if we zoom out and look at the whole picture here, we're looking at our eyes are looking like right here. This is the center of the drawing, at least in terms of like where we're staring at the picture. Hi Kenji! Hello, I'm teaching how to draw Jax today. So like from this point, from this middle point here, everything else is getting farther away from this point. Of course, except for things that are getting closer, like his fists are getting closer to us, this leg is getting closer to us. This arm is kind of neutral, but his overall up here, it's getting further away just by a little bit. His head is also getting slightly smaller from the center point. His chest is like where our perspective is aimed at. His foot, that's getting farther away. Perspective is very important to making good looking art. And Kenji's gone. That's lovely. Okay, let's zoom back in and finish up our lovely masculine bunny. Boop, boop, boop. Whoop. Gonna draw his overall here. I'm actually gonna draw a little like lumped line right there to show where his chest ends and his strap starts. It helps add like a little bit of perspective. And then how does his... Okay, they just kind of wraps around to the back of his body. And I guess we could add like a little bit of lip here, so just delete some of this and add just a little lip here to show like, yeah, he's wearing something. It's kind of coming over his body there. Don't get any weird ideas from that statement, by the way. Goodness. I'm gonna draw the bun to be a little more narrow in shape compared to this one. This one is gonna be just a little more straight up round compared to that one. Good idea. I knew it. I think like 9 people like voted for this, and then only 2 of you showed up. On the other hand, I didn't exactly tell people when this was gonna be. I was just like, yep, it's gonna start at 5. Sure, 5 o'clock. So again, with perspective again, if that's the center point, then that can be a center line. So this will spread out as it goes down. See, if I were to draw a straight line, it'd be like that. But since this is kind of following the trait of his body and it's getting a little bit closer to the camera, it's getting wider at the end. Whoop. And this is just like his big pouch. You know, you shove things in it. It's a kangaroo pouch for his overalls. And you see it's kind of thicker at the bottom, slightly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make the line thicker. So instead of drawing like actual shadow the hedgehog, we're just gonna have that thicker line. If I could actually draw straight. And of course we add a little lip on the top here. Once again to show like, yeah, it's a little pouch. He probably can shove things in here, there. Probably like keys and stuff. He's always stealing people's keys. As if they ever went into anything good. He's constantly been trying to... Did I just... I don't know what I did. There we go. Oh, there's a... Okay. There we go. Now, let's see. Just need to draw the other glove here. The hands are like, as everyone would know who's ever tried to draw anything, are the most annoying pieces of butts ever, because not only do you have to do like a lot of different shapes, but you have to account for the dimensions, the perspective, where we've been talking about a whole lot about with hands, and putting all of those together, even as a skilled artist, is simply not easy. Shrimp. Yeah, I indeed surprised you started so suddenly, but it was a good timing for me. Yeah, I've just been really busy all day. My manager's giving me like lots of stuff to do. And I was behind on things. Like I hadn't given my video editors like stuff to make just yet. So I had to like get to that. Yeah. I should be more specific about timing next time. I'm surprised MJ hasn't joined. I see he's in the little corner. I tapped on the mobile status and I got here immediately. Speedy. So, does he have 3 fingers? Yes. 1, 2, 3. 3 fingers and 1 thumb. So, we did that right. So, cool. Now that we got our whole running jacks, we can turn off that layer. So now we're just going to work on some simple color. We're going to take the color layer and we're going to put it below our drawn layer. I'm going to select this paint bucket. And since we already got jacks literally right here, let's take the stealing tool and then turn down the tolerance so that it doesn't fill up the little entire page. There, that's much better. So I'm just going to fill in all the lines here, which is really easy because we already made a full a loop for the lines. See, if we were to draw a line without a complete circle and try to fill it in, it just fill in the entire picture. But if we finish it and then fill in and turn down the title and three more, it actually fill it in. Just a silly little note. Boop, boop. It's kind of important. So I think that does it for his skin, except his foot. He doesn't wear... He's such a man and he doesn't need shoes. So we're just going to get the most basic part of his pants color, which probably wouldn't be the lower part because that's darker. You probably want to get like, I don't know, right here is probably the most neutral color for his outfit. Damn it. Okay, so fill in that part, his patch. So we're gonna have to simply just draw that in. Damn, you need more days off. Yeah. Oh, MJ actually joined. Hey, MJ. I literally don't have any days off. I work my delivery job like 4 days a week, and then the rest is then 3 days I'm streaming. One of those days overlaps with my regular delivery job, and then Monday is typically my day off, but there's like my managers, they want like attention on like what we need to improve, and then like I have to do like singing lessons for opera and just lots of other VTuber relating things. I don't get a day off. When you want to grow as a VTuber, there is no rest. Oops. And I just, I did a silly. I accidentally added his body color. On the wrong layer. Make sure, chat, that you're drawing on the correct layer. I'm not naming my layers right now because my little tablet is covering my keyboard. So, I can't exactly name the layers here. So I'm just like drawing by memory, I suppose. Once I've like reached a certain point where I've got everything settled, like I have like my video editor settled, my manager is actually able to communicate with like my other staff members well, and like I've gotten to a point of singing where I don't need to like always be getting tutored, and I'm going to like my videos are doing well, and I'm going like consistently with like my content, and you know, other things like making enough money to like not do the delivery job as often. Then I can actually focus on, you know, having a bit of a day off. I'm just noticing his sleeve color is the same color as the bottom of his pants. So we're gonna just copy that color and paint bucket. Well, just that. And looks like we need to do this. Finish the same for this, and his skin also for for whatever reason, we didn't do his foot. My quick question, when is community night going to be? I'm almost done with this, so probably in a couple minutes. Yeah, I'm guessing about 23 minutes. Well, this is going a little bit long, so I just want to do this. Okay, so his eyes, his inner eyes, his mouth and gloves and buttons, those all share the same yellow. So I'm just going to try to grab the most neutral of those colors here, and we're going to fill them in. Oop. And today we won't work on shading since we have weekly hangout to do. But there we go. I think if I were to judge my own drawing, I'd say I didn't make his eyes big enough. I probably should have made like his head a little bit larger. But other than that, this isn't so bad. And you know, adding some shading would have added a lot to this. Hey, this is way more than what I would have conceived. Do you two want to tell me what you learned from this? Before we end here? As a reminder, I'm used to drawing anime, so this is like easy for me, but at the same time, a lot simpler. So like, I'm kind of learning as I'm going, like drawing this. Like I can see his eyes are very like close together right here, and his eyes nearly touch the edge of his head, and that's something I could have done like when drawing him. And his head could have been like a little bit larger, I feel like. And I could have added thickness to like the edges of his ears. Oh, is that what you managed to draw, Cast? Oh, that's pretty good. That's really good. I really like the second one where he's just kind of nudging himself away. That's funny. You know, I'm gonna steer these for a second. Just to showcase like what you drew. Cast. You drew him just like getting away. It makes sense why you were able to draw 2 pieces of artwork in the time that I drew like 1, because I'm stopping and I'm talking a whole bunch. But this is really good for like what you were able to like learn. Good job, Cass. Good job. Really, for me, I didn't think that outlines were going to be that important, but also you improvise at some points, so you don't have to follow the lines anyway. Like the lines are like the guidelines. Like you're kind of following them, but you're also like thinking about, well, what shapes would actually make sense or look better. They're very important. Like, I don't tend to draw outlines anymore just because I've been drawing for so long, but when you're still learning perspectives, it's very important. Well, this will be fun to do another time. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. We are going to go play some Terraria now. Ba 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 ba. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you learned a lot. Bye. And